Alright, what's up everybody? This is Pisan joining me today for a cast of some games that we've kind of left to the wayside for a little bit back in week 5. We have Avanhokie. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to the cast, and we're gonna clear all of the missed games on the schedule, get everything casted up to date.
Totally, yeah. You know, when we started the CPL, like just looking at how many games we had, I was figuring we would do some highlights each week, but the whole casting crew, you, Gorgo, Zoo, Chess, Snipe, and Shoop, and then we actually have a couple of additions as well, with Nina stepping in, Doc, all those guys. You guys have been amazing. So we've actually managed to cast every single game up to this point, with the exception of these week 5 games that we've skipped. So we're gonna go back now, cover these, and hopefully get 100% completion to the end of the league. So really psyched that the casting crew was able to step up for this.
Well, yeah, it's been at least for me. I know for me and Gorgo have definitely enjoyed the casts.
I'm glad you guys are having fun with it. You know, everyone that has watched the casts seems to be appreciating them quite a bit. So, once again, thanks for you guys who are tuning in. Thanks to you guys who are helping out with the casts. So this is going to be week 5. These are the Supply Block versus No1CareThat A-Team games, which were played a decent amount of time ago, but have not been casted up to this point. So the first series here is going to be Aria versus Telecom. And with no further ado, I think we can get into it.
Yep, looking forward to it. So I think this is going to be a PvT then?
Yep, that should be a PvT. So we're starting out on map 1 is Crossing Field. And we have Telecom spawning in on the left side of the map as the teal Protoss.
And then we've got Arya, our pink Terran, starting the bottom right.
You know, map. I think there's always been some casting comments about what that color is. I think some people go with peach. Yeah, pink, I don't really know. It's one of those pastels that you really only see in the UMS map types. But all the CPL maps are OBS maps, so we do usually play them on the UMS setting, so you get all these weird colors.
And so, A-Team wise, most of the games I've been casting have been, most of the time I'm getting my Team Beast, but I've casted Arya a couple times. I've seen him mostly TBC. Telecom, I have not casted, but I know, I actually knew him before the CPL. He's in the White Clan, actually. So. Yeah,
we have not only a clash here between CPL teams, but we have a clash between White and EMG. So both of these guys are well part of those organizations, so that's kind of cool. Telecom is a strong player, Arya is also a strong player. A-Team games in general have been just getting better and better as the league goes on. This is a little bit in the past, week 5, but not super different compared to the recent matches. And we do have that initial gas steal coming out from Telecom. So
opening up just one gate so far.
Yeah, this is an interesting move, especially on a map like Crossing Field where you can go for a full wall, and Arya is opting to do that. The gas steal is not going to be that disruptive. You're kind of just forcing the Terran to go for that 1 Rax expand, which I'm sure Arya is perfectly happy to do here.
And we have the probe taking the gas.
That's very important. You'll never get those 8 gas back. That is a good move if you're going to go for the gas steal. No, but seriously, it's not that big of a deal. And we do see Arya is going to go for that quick command center follow-up, so he's not really phased by this. He's just going to, play the game that Telecom sort of forced him to play. Great SCV scout as well to see what's going on in Telecom space. He's got to keep moving that SCV a little bit farther, but once he gets that scout, he'll know there's no like proxy 2 gates behind this, which would be, the only thing to really worry about.
Yeah, he'll see, cyber coming up, pretty standard stuff. But yeah, forced into the gasless expand. with the full wall, he should be able to. Arya should be able to sort of go for a pretty standard build here.
Absolutely.
Just take down that gas as soon as possible.
Yeah, the one thing is he didn't put any SCVs on it except for the initial SCV right at the beginning. And his Marines were a little slow to come down here to take this out, so his gas is going to be delayed a little bit more than it could be. Not the biggest of deals, but you know, once you've actually got the minerals for your command center, you really need to start saving up gas for that factory as fast as possible. And it looks like Telecom is going to opt to go for a proxy robo, but you know, the SCV was in the base. I'm not sure if it was active enough. I kind of missed if it did the full runaround, but really Arya should know that there's not enough in there, that there is going to be some sort of a proxy going on. Well, he's going to juke around the Dragoon, so he's probably going to get a second look here. Another goon should be on the way, but it's actually going to be a Zealot.
Yeah, Zealot. Yeah, Zealot's coming out of the gate. And yeah, this SCV is going to get a full scout.
Yeah, especially if he can get to that back. I mean, he hasn't quite seen that there's no Nexus at that back natural. So this isn't as suspicious as it could be, but really, you know, your senses should be tingling when you see one gate and core at this timing. There's something else going on.
Yeah.
And we're going to have that support bay coming up immediately afterwards, so this is going to be a very fast Reaver drop. It looks like Arya's not necessarily going to be that prepared for this.
Yeah, engineering bay just coming up in the natural.
Okay, that is a decent timing on that engineering bay. So as long as he can make, you know, a few turrets to keep that shuttle at bay, he'll be in a decent position here. But he only has the 3 or so Marines opting to cut costs to just be as economic as possible. So one good Reaver shot is going to take those guys out. He's going to have to be very prepared with the turret ring.
And we've got one Zealot inside of the shuttle in the Reaver's building, but the engineering base now up, so we'll see.
That's a very
turret
nice
coming
move.
up at the back.
Yeah, from Telecom to actually run that Zealot down to his proxy so that he has it ready for the drop. You know, the difference between a Reaver with a shuttle and a Reaver with a Zealot is pretty big, especially once the tanks are out. You can tank the first initial shots and get some serious damage with that Reaver.
But right now we actually just have the first add-on about 75% done, so it's going to be a while until tank is ready. We're just going to have to see him hold off with the turrets and the 4 Marines.
Yeah, so this is kind of an artifact of getting that gas a little bit late. Arya's actually managed to bank up a decent amount of gas mining from both geysers. But before I get into that, you actually have the shuttle running into the first turret a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
SCVs are running, but oh my god, it's really scary. That Scarab's on the warpath. It is gonna dud, but the second one I think might be good. Oh, 2 duds. Those could be enormous. Actually, they're so stacked right now. This Reaver is not quite done.
Well, let's see.
Oh my god.
All the Marines go down.
Yeah, without any Marines, you know, now it's SCVs versus Reaver. The tank should be out pretty soon.
Oh, the tank is out.
Oh, there finally gets 1 SCV Scarab. That's a decent amount of kills on this Reaver now. I can't quite see how many because it's building Scarabs. But that looked like at least 5 SCVs. Meanwhile, this Zealot in the backline is just causing mining.
Kills.
So just running these SCVs back and forth is decent damage. Getting a few SCV kills is icing on the cake. The one saving grace for Arya is that Telecom's expansion was delayed by going for this build. Although he can't lose the tank. There we go. That's a lot of damage on a tank. And the shuttle does manage to get out with barely any health. The turrets were pretty well placed, I'd say. It had only a tiny little dead spot to hang out in. So well played by Telecom to actually get that out as well.
Yeah, it was very low health at that point. And now it's he's just using this proxy robo to produce observers. So.
Yeah, I mean, there were already turrets, and you can expect more turrets going down after that harassment. And you actually see Arya going to do a pretty good job getting nearly a full turret ring. There's sort of a dead spot here on the left of the base, but there's not a lot that a Reaver could hit from that position. So it would be quite a big investment to go for another Reaver drop when you know that your opponent's going to be pretty prepared.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna set up to take his third base, just building gates here. He has built a Stargate. Looks like he could go for a quick arbiter.
Yeah, two-base ARB on this map is actually really different. You know, you have that easy access to the third, so that's what most players opt for. But certainly,
Okay, we do have him. We do have him taking the third before, but the Temple Archives is halfway up, so that's probably where he'll go after this.
yeah, it is. It's a pretty fast arbiter timing, and I mean, it kind of plays into his aggressive opening. Telecom is not going to try to sit back and just out-expand Arya here. It looks like he's going to go for a pretty aggressive recall or stasis. And meanwhile, Arya has been producing quite a decent amount of tanks. He's had a lot of gas, just hitting a supply block at the moment. But, you know, with that fast expansion, even though he delayed the initial tanks, he's been producing tanks off of 2 machine shops this whole time.
But he does have some vultures out, just setting some minefields. The observer from Telecom saw these vultures though.
Yep, and we do have 4 goons. They don't actually have the observer with them, so they may actually eat a big mine here, and 1 goon does go down. So this is a nice trade for Arya. And actually, if you look at the supplies at the moment, Arya is tagging behind Telecom to just a few, which is a great place to be in a PvT. I'm gonna opt to take his 3rd command center now too, although Telecom should be able to see that.
Yeah, he sees it very slightly on the view of the observer.
Yep, I'm gonna do a full temporary wall here to stop the vulture harass. There aren't really enough goons to block. Now the rest of the reinforcements coming down. So these 2 vultures aren't gonna get anything done. But at least Arya does know the timing of that 3rd base. Wasn't able to see the saturation, but has a pretty good idea what's going on.
And we got a drop ship coming out of Arya right now, out of his starport.
Oh, that's a really interesting play. Good catch. That starport, I'm not sure if he's going to just go for that back third. It's kind of awkward to fly there when you don't have map control. And since Telecoms are doing a great job clearing these mines, eating one mine hit there unnecessarily.
It actually did a lot of damage to 2 of the Dragoons.
Yeah, but if you look at the vision, like, Arya doesn't really have anything besides his 3 bases, so that dropship is going to be taking a risk moving out on the map.
Yeah, it's a bit scary when you've got such little vision. But it does seem like naturally that back third is just a place people love to drop. You know, it's a hassle to get back and defend. So I'd imagine that's probably what it will be. Or it could be a drop to the bottom left and try to slide up this, slide down this ramp and get to this front natural with vultures.
Definitely an option. I think the back natural is just so natural to hit because the rush distance, especially like these goons that are sitting at the front door of Arya, have to run this crazy spiral pattern to get back there. So it is just a real long time before you actually get anything. Oh, this doesn't even work anymore. I can't go D&D. So everyone, that was Sugo. Don't worry about him. He's just being nice.
Oh, we've got a dropship about to fly over the 4th base with 4 vultures in it.
So 4 vulture drop. He is going to be able to kill maybe 1 or 2 probes here.
Could mine this up and make it a bit more of a hassle to defend. But,
yep. Certainly laying a minefield is really all that these vultures can get done at this time. I imagine there's an observer nearby, although I don't see one.
Yeah, no observers being produced either from that proxy robo.
Yeah, I mean there is one here on the ridge just northeast of that position, so he can clear these mines out pretty easily. Gonna actually drag some zealots in, so at this point there's only a single vulture left. Not really gonna do a ton of damage with that drop, but didn't lose much either. Still has the dropship. Just 4 vultures for a couple of zealots is kind of an even trade. So the one thing I would like to see is Arya try to get his gas under control. So one of the things that this map kind of throws players off is you just have such a fast third. He's even mining with only a single SCV at that 3rd gas, but he's still at 1300. And as a Terran player, you always want to get that gas spent as fast as possible, because that's just more tanks, it's more upgrades. That's usually the limiting factor. So I think that's a big key takeaway in this game, that if Arya can get that under control, he'd be playing a much stronger game.
Yeah, and we have a Maynard of probes over to the 4th base. First arbiters out. Actually, we've got 2 Stargates producing arbiters here.
Yeah, there's a push out from Arya as well. Really good unit control, actually takes out all of the goons at the front with basically no losses, so that was well done by him. He's going to come down here, looks like towards this proxy location, maybe take this out, but honestly, I don't think that's the best use of this army's time. You know, it's still tech that you can get and its value, but you know that fourth is largely undefended. If he could get a position closer to that, maybe control those ridges, then he has the potential to even take that base out.
Yeah, actually he just takes out the pylon and leaves.
I like that move. In fact, I would even have just sent, you know, maybe one tank down there to just finish it off. Now he is going to try to get a forward position at the fourth, sending some vulture reinforcements. So if he can get fully set up here, that's going to be a pain for Telecom to deal with.
Yeah, actually we don't have another. Yeah, obviously this is set up. Is he scanning? Okay.
The scan was a little late. The Zealots actually managed to get on top of everything.
Ooh, pretty
Decent
good
stasis on 3 tanks. Yeah, this was mostly... Oh wow, he actually calls GG there. That was mostly Zealots. If Arya had managed to get the mines in place and got a faster scan, I think he would have been fine. But as it is, getting that army wiped out is a really rough situation.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I don't think before that engage he was in that bad a position, but you know, wiping the army, the amount of tanks he was about to lose was gonna be pretty rough.
And the other thing I just want to mention is, you know, he was controlling that army pretty well, despite having a little bit of a late setup. The first push out and catching those goons was great, but as we can see, his money did kind of float as he was controlling that push, which is something, you know, all Terrans struggle with. Controlling the mech army is super tough. So that, you know, now he's lost his army and he probably doesn't have a lot of reinforcements at home. So that's just a really losing position.
Yeah, not to mention he only had a couple machine shops, so reproducing the tank count was going to be take a little longer.
But well played. We're going to go into game 2 right away. Just remember to update that score.
Okay.
Cool. So now we're going to move on to Fighting Spirit. See if Arya can tie this up or if Telecom's going to take the series. And spawning in the top left of the map, we have the brown Terran, Arya.
And in the bottom left are teal, Protoss, Telecom. Winner of game 1.
So I like Telecom's game plan in general, to go for aggressive build on crossing fields. You know, it's just so inviting to go for that macro style that when you do some sort of aggression, it tends to throw your opponent off and, you know, can just outright win the game if they're not expecting it. Now we're going on to Fighting Spirit, something that both of them are likely much more familiar with, and we'll see what they do in their comfort zone, so to speak. Arya just letting him know that that gas steal didn't impact his plans at all. Not sure if that's part of the mind game. Oh, we have this forward pylon here up on the ridge, so that usually means a gate down low. This is sort of an interesting choice, so probably a single gate worth of Zealot harassment. We'll have to see. Telecom bemoaning the Reaver duds. Some of those Reaver scarabs were so scary, man.
Yeah, those were stacked SCVs. I felt like he could have lost, lost a pretty minimal amount of SCVs for the amount he could have lost. Could have just wiped the SCVs.
Absolutely, but that's just the pitfalls of Reaver play. It's a risk you have to accept when you make that unit.
Yeah, and this low ground gateway, you can get a bit aggressive with it. Obviously, it's a little faster than if it were in the main.
Yeah, and we actually have that first scout as well. So Telecom's going to be able to use that Zealot to the utmost, although we do have a decent sim coming out from Arya, so he's going to be able to slide that Marine in between the supply depot barracks gap. So it's really going to come down to Micro who's going to get the better of this exchange.
Yeah, the anti-Zealot walling. You can micro around the Zealot pretty easily with the Marines in this supply depot barracks position.
Yep, and Arya's doing a good job with his scout timing too, gonna get that first scout off as well. So he'll see the timing of this Zealot, he knows what's gonna come in. I would love to see him go up into the base as well to see if there was a core or a second gate, because you don't really know.
Ooh, he turns it around.
He does turn around. I mean, you can kind of assume it's a single gate, There's really no reason to put it in the base except to be sneaky, but Telecom might be getting sneaky. These are the kind of things that you gotta check for. But in any case, he's going to be able to react to the first couple of Zealots here, and it really will come down to control. We've got a decent factory timing coming in behind this, so as long as Arya can defend versus this, he'll be in a decent position to secure his own expansion. His Marine is already behind the wall, so he's going to be able to take pot shots at that Zealot with no danger to himself. It's a really good unit positioning. He's going to have to come out a little bit to defend these SCVs, and here comes the micro. Pretty good reaction, only taking a single hit, and the Zealot is going to get forced out of the base with a few SCVs following.
A lot of SCVs hanging around.
Uh-oh, this is a couple more hits. That probe is about to get involved as well, but the first Zealot does go down with 3 Marines remaining, even if they are hurt. So pretty good. Yeah, you know, when you're trading Zealots around, it's totally fine if you're not killing the Marines, if you're also doing some econ damage. Honestly, I think it was kind of an even trade there. Arya probably came out a little bit ahead. But having these Marines much lower in health means that these goons are going to be much more powerful against them. So if he's going to do some sort of an FD follow-up, he just doesn't have that Marine wall that he would have had. And we do have the expansion coming out from Telecom.
Yeah, and we actually had the scouting SCV was still around. Telecom's Dragoon was following it. So he actually chased it all the way back to his own natural to kill it off. So that's why the 2 Dragoons are coming up together.
Yeah, that's a good move because, you know, these goons can't push up that ramp. You know, they want to be forward just to stop the push and delay it as much as possible, but they're not going to get anything done at this moment. So if you can use them to kill the scout, then why not? It looks like there is going to be sort of an FD push coming out here. You have the first tank. There's going to be a second tank, so just like a strong FD, which I kind of like.
You have Robo coming up. We'll have to see what he decides to go with. Probably at this timing, observing.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to go for a Reaver, and even if he does, it's not going to be in time to actually prevent this FD from doing some damage. It really depends on how many tanks Arya decides to make here. It looks like he is going to opt for just the 2, and here comes the push out down the ramp, although the tank is actually not coming with the Marines. Oh no, this was like an auto-pathing issue. The Marines were in the way of the ramp. So that's a few free hits, and yeah, actually Telecom's just going to aggressively go in on these Marines, and all the Marines are basically done.
Although all 3 Dragoons are yellow. Pretty bruised, but we'll have to see. We've got 2 Dragoons right at the natural. If he pushes too far with these tanks and vultures, he can definitely lose them.
Yeah.
CC coming up in the natural.
Once you've lost the Marine buffer, it's really tough to keep the push going. It looks like Arya is going to try to get at least some forward mines, but he has to be very careful with these tanks. Oh, first tank getting jumped on. That's 1 tank for 1 goon trade, and actually getting a couple of mine snipes as well. But he is going to be able to get a few mines down across the bridge. So that's going to give him some temporary map control, but the observer timing is not going to make that last.
Yeah, the observatory's already up, but no observers being made yet.
Oh, maybe a bad rally out from Arya, just going to sacrifice a vulture there. You know, at the early part of the game here, that stuff is pretty critical. I didn't manage to see if it had its mines or not, but if it was a bad rally, it probably had all 3.
Wait, what do we have here? Okay, just the pylon.
Yeah, so things have stabilized. You know, Arya's FD really didn't do much damage. There's still a couple of hurt goons around, but he really killed a single goon and got some forward mines. So he's a bit behind, I would say. Getting his expansion up now is a decent timing, but
Observer out.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. Now that the Obs is out, he needs to make sure that he can hold his base. And he's gonna siege. Yeah, this is a pretty forward siege. There's no walls, there's no buildings to block, there's barely any mines out since they've all been spent at Telecom's bridge. So if Telecom sees this with the obs, he may just go hard on this and be able to kill these tanks.
Yeah. We'll have to see if he keeps a vision across his bridge, he'll have an easier time.
Yeah, the one thing that Telecom has to watch out for right now is some sort of Vulture run-by, and he's got a decent wall, so he can block that with just a few units, but I think he doesn't want to commit too far knowing that there are speed Vultures out. There's actually 2 at the 9 o'clock just waiting for the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, if we could see, usually you see Terrans this ledge at Arya's natural. Usually you see like a siege there. Would make it really difficult for Dragoons pushing in.
Yeah, absolutely. Even one high ground tank makes a big difference. Arya going to try to get a run by, but he's going to notice that that wall is pretty much complete with 2 goons, so he's going to pull those vultures back. Nice awareness there.
We're actually going to have a Reaver coming in at Telecom, later Reaver timing.
Yeah, I kind of like that. You know, that kind of makes sense that he wasn't aggressive, just kind of waiting for the Reaver timing. Although his shuttle is now going to pick up a Zealot first, so...
Yeah.
It's going to delay his Reaver attack just a little bit here. Meanwhile, in terms of preparation for this, Arya does have the engineering bay, but he doesn't really have great turrets to stop a Reaver. He's got 1 in each base, but it certainly doesn't cover the whole mineral line. Oh, and Telecom has to watch out these mines. It's a couple of mine hits.
Yeah, these are really low Dragoons, so any more mine hits could be rough.
Gonna fly that shuttle directly over the vultures too. So if Arya was paying attention, he saw that. And the vultures are moving, so he probably did notice.
There is no, okay, there's a couple turrets coming up at the natural, but they're late.
Yeah, he's trying to put them down the second he saw.
We do have siege tanks. We do have siege tanks.
Yeah, the Zealots are tanking some hits, but the Reaver is out. It's getting glitched on the minerals, and first shot is a dud. Second shot hits about 2 SCVs. Ooh, that one was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that was a good shot.
Yeah, and actually gonna get out. I don't think that Reaver really took serious damage. No, it's basically full health. So he'll be able to use that later in the game to actually punish some more. And just by forcing these turrets with the threat is costing some money. So that's a good move out from Telecom. Behind that, he's actually taking his 3rd as well. So he's getting in a pretty strong position here.
Yeah, building a couple forges here to get some upgrades going. He'll probably... That's pretty much a nice wall there. Obviously, he'll probably be taking the bottom right natural as his next base, and then sort of just have that half of the map under his control.
Yep.
The 3rd is trying to come up for Arya. We have 1 Zealot here that will be an annoyance, but the army's coming up.
This is a pretty dangerous timing, though. This Zealot just delaying the troop movement means that it's possible for the rest of these goons to get in a position before a siege. So this is really a critical time here that Arya needs to get prepared.
If this Reaver could get up here, there's no anti-air here. It could really annoy, like these clumped up tanks when they're not sieged. Like a couple Zealots in here with the Reaver could really mess with the tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. A Reaver shot into that clump would be devastating. This is a little scary. I'm not sure why Arya is pushing out. And the one thing is he brought so much to defend that 3rd, knowing that that would be the point the Telecom would try to hit, that he left his natural completely exposed. So both players kind of taking some risks here. Telecom not taking advantage of that, but actually going to pull back and sort of defend his own position on the map. But Arya looks like he wants to get a forward position, and I really don't think his army's big enough for this. He's just sitting under an observer too, so this is just asking to get an attack. You can get fully flanked when you're out in front of your bridge. And in addition, he doesn't have any defenses at his 3rd anymore.
Yeah, we don't. We only have 1 turret coming up. Interesting stuff so far. We actually have 2 base carriers coming up in the top left of Telecom's base, which kind of, I don't think Arya has really noticed it because there's been there's sort of a lack of units. There's a lack of gateways producing units, but I don't think Arya really knows about it. There's no scan. There's only 1 scan up. I don't think he's really been doing a ton of informational scanning, looking for what Telecom's doing.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you know, I'd be so worried as a Terran player just having this clump of units that is unsieged. And this is not a great position for them because they're not really guarding either base. Looks like now they're gonna start pushing down towards the middle of the map. But I'm really not sure where these guys are headed and what they're trying to do. If he knew about the carriers, then the timing right now, before the carriers have popped, makes a lot of sense. But I agree. I don't think he knows yet.
Yeah,
Because
because
then
he's
you'd probably be
producing
making Goliaths.
largely vultures.
Yeah, exactly.
He has a couple Goliaths mixed in, but that's sort of just everyone does that.
Yeah, that's anti-shuttle,
Makes sense.
anti-arbiter, absolutely. When you see this much carrier, you really have to just go pure Goliath and support, and try to push something down before that carrier fleet gets too big. I don't think he knows.
Okay, he just scanned and sees. If he looks at the top, he can see the fleet beacon in his scan. So, but he only sees one Stargate. So we're likely gonna see. Yeah, we're seeing all Goliaths coming out.
Yeah, now he knows. So what is the reaction going to be? It looks like he's going to take that and start pushing after setting up his macro. But there is an army in the middle of the map ready to meet this, and even
There's
though
still a Reaver here.
yeah,
There's still a Reaver as well.
that's a decent-sized army to go up against an unsieged Terran army. A lot of these Zealots are going to go down. Looks like the shuttle is going to suicide into a lot of these Goliaths. Reaver does not get a shot. So that is a saving grace out from Arya. If he can get a good position to kill one of these bases, he might be able to take this game.
He's losing about every vulture though, and we're still not really gonna have enough Goliaths because there's still a couple carriers out already with Reaver soldiers.
Yeah, I think unsieging here is probably a mistake. Like if he had quickly siege pushed this, he would have been in a much better situation. But now that all the Goliaths are down, these two carriers can just kill every single tank. They're going to have to run all the way back. And this is not a successful attack against the carrier switch. So unfortunately, Telecom's going to get away with the carrier switch and taking a fourth base behind this and going to be in a great position. Total of 4 carriers out now.
Yeah, 4 carriers out versus... Oh.
Yep, there's the GG. He just figured he could not deal with the carrier fleet.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we did have a 4th base up and mining already for Telecom.
Yeah, so I think in general, Arya has GG'd a little bit early. You know, he was definitely in disadvantageous positions both games. You could say maybe game ending, but Terran's strength is defensive. It's possible to turtle on less bases and come out with a strong push later in the game. So I would have liked to see him try to fight his way back in, but he did decide to GG. I don't think it was necessarily the wrong call, but you know, good games.
Yeah, you can definitely survive a little. You can definitely survive longer than that against the that sort of army that Telecom had, but it was going to be a real uphill battle anyway.
Absolutely.